You're watching Let the Quran Speak. Christmas is in the air. It has been that way since the end of Halloween. Stores have already put out their lights, their decorations, their displays, and they're encouraging people to buy gifts for their loved ones. What has happened to Christmas? What has happened to make it so commercialized? And are we losing the true message of Christmas? Now, Shabir, has Christmas always been this way? Has it been, about giving gifts, buying presents, going shopping?
Well, Christmas is not really about giving gifts. I mean, people have begun to give gifts because for many it is a joyous occasion. And there's nothing wrong with that. It is mentioned in the Gospels that the Magi came from the east bearing gifts. This is specifically in the Gospel of Matthew. But they give gifts to Jesus. And again, there's nothing wrong with giving gifts to each other. But if one forgets that the whole purpose really is to celebrate the birth of Jesus, who wasn't born for no reason. His whole purpose was to teach the gospel, was to teach the message from God. And
I read somewhere that someone said Christmas is about sacrifice and love, or celebrating sacrifice and love, not all those other things that we talk about.
Yes, I would say that it's really Christmas is an occasion to remember Jesus and to remember the message that he stood for. His message, for example, that is found in the Gospel of Matthew, again in the Sermon on the Mount, includes some beautiful teaching, which people largely neglect, and even many who think that they're celebrating Christmas find the message of Jesus they're largely oblivious to the message of Jesus.
Well, let's talk about the commercialization of Christmas a bit more, because immediately after Halloween ends, we see the displays with, Christmas sort of decorations, songs, lights, everything.
Yes, the complete change is
overnight.
Yes,
overnight
and
change,
it's amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
You go into the store one day, it's all about Halloween. You go in the next day, it's all about Christmas.
Yeah.
And that shows the extent to which the commercial interests are trying to capitalize on religious symbols and religious occasions.
And I think Christians have always fought back against this, but it seems they've been unsuccessful.
Of course, religious teachings require some sacrifice and love, sometimes withholding, contentment with what you have, charitable behavior, and so on. And
most religions seem to emphasize these principles.
Precisely. Whereas, as we know from the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus said that the path towards paradise is narrow, and few are those who follow it, whereas the path towards hell is wide and spacious, and many are those who follow that. So we should resist just simply following the way of the masses. We should think and reflect. Nowadays, children are wondering about what is the right path, because they get a bewildering array of ideas thrown at them all the time. They're bombarded by every media, and they are losing that moral ground that used to be firmly set in things. There is an old Christmas song dating back from 1918. Which says Johnny wants a pair of skates, Susie wants a dolly, and Nellie wants a storybook. So if we think about
this nursery rhyme or whatever it is.
It's a Christmas song that I used to hear when I was a child.
Okay.
And it made sense when I was a child, and that was not too long ago, I hope. It made sense that children wanted these things, but if you think about what children may want now, it's like Johnny wants a PlayStation 3 and so on. So it's not the simple things in life anymore, but we want what is being advertised to us, and we want it now, and more is being advertised to us. We can never be contented with what we already have, because by the time we have bought something, we see an ad showing something that is bigger, better, faster, more effective, always more enjoyable.
Now, if we have this difficulty resisting the temptation, what about children? How can we, educate our children to have a different approach and resist the peer pressure? I guess.
Yes, we need to bring back the original message of religious teachings. And for those who are celebrating Christmas, I think it is important that they emphasize the religious grounding and the background for Christmas. Muslims and Christians, both at this time, can reflect on the occasion of Christmas, on the teachings of Jesus, who is one of the great prophets of the Islamic faith. The Quran speaks about Jesus many times, mentioning his name 25 times altogether. The two sections of the Quran in Surah 3 and also in Surah 19 detail the birth story about Jesus. Surah 19 is in fact called the chapter of Mary because there is such a prominent mention of Mary and how she gave birth to Jesus in that miraculous manner.
Thank you for that, Brother Shabir.
You're welcome.
We'll take a break. When we return, we answer questions we receive from you, our viewers.